CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I noticed that these kind of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might make the experience a little creepier. So tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I hired a hitman on the dark web. He asked if I wanted to watch. Alright, so before I get into this, I just want to say I never expected anything like this to happen. I'm just some regular 19-year-old dude. I live in a college town. I work part-time at a Starbucks, and I scroll TikTok until like 3 a.m. most nights. I'm not into anything illegal. I don't hang out with shady people. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket. But what happened to me over the past couple months is straight out of a horror movie. Like one of those disturbing animated YouTube stories that you watch at 2 a.m. and think, that would never happen to me. Except it did. And now I'm not sure if I'll ever feel safe again. It started with a Reddit post. Funny, right? Just a stupid Reddit post. I was on r/true crime, scrolling through one of those late night rabbit holes, and I came across a thread titled, "Ever wonder what the dark web really looks like in 2025? Now, I'm not totally clueless. I knew the dark web was sketchy. Like, you don't just accidentally end up there unless you're looking for trouble. But the comments were full of people claiming to have been on it, talking about red rooms, marketplaces, and this thing called the operator. Some user with a weird throwaway name, I think it was u/this is not the end _07, said something like, "You can pay to make someone disappear. Just don't click watch unless you're ready to see hell." I thought it was just another edgy internet troll, so I replied like a dumbass, "LOL okay hitman.com, sure bro." I went to bed that night and didn't think twice. Next morning, I woke up to a DM on Reddit. The sender's name was just deleted, but the message was still there. Are you ready to see? Attached to the message was a link. Not some weird .onion or anything, just a normal looking website. The thumbnail was a grainy black and white photo of a man standing in a hallway. He had no face. Like literally, it was blurred out. Like when Google Street View censors something. I was 99% sure it was just some dumb ARG or interactive story, but I'm nosy as hell, so I clicked it. It redirected to a countdown. Big red letters. Live feed. 2 days, 17 hours, 43 minutes. No other info. Just a small button underneath that said, "Reserve your seat." I didn't click it. I closed the tab and moved on with my day. But then, things started getting weird. That night at work, this dude came in. He looked like every average guy ever. Like someone you'd pass at Target and never remember. Hoodie, jeans, one AirPod in. But he walked up to the register and said, "Do you think people deserve to die for what they've done?" I thought he was joking, or maybe he was high. I laughed it off and said something like, "Only if they don't tip." He didn't laugh. He just stared at me with this blank expression and then ordered a small black coffee. Paid in exact change. No tip. When he left, I looked at the receipt. His name was listed as N0E. Not none, like nothing, but literally N0NNE, like someone trying too hard to be anonymous. That night, the countdown website popped up again. I swear, I didn't click anything. I was just watching YouTube, some Luna video actually, when the tab opened by itself. Same countdown, but this time it had audio. It was a whispering voice. I had to crank the volume just to hear it, and even then, it sounded like someone was speaking backwards, like reversed audio or some demonic EVP crap. I recorded it and ran it through one of those reverse speech apps. What it said made my stomach drop. You already reserved your seat. I was officially creeped out. I cleared my history, ran antivirus software, even reset my router just in case I'd been hacked. But nothing worked. The next day, I got a text from a random number. No caller ID, just, "Still watching?" It had a screenshot of me from the night before, sitting at my desk watching YouTube from inside my room. I live alone, 3rd floor. My window was locked. I checked every inch of my apartment. Nothing. I slept with the lights on that night. Here's where it got messed up. The countdown ended 2 days later. The website opened again, same creepy style. This time, it didn't say, "Reserve your seat." It said, "Select target." And there was a list of names. Real people. Some had photos, social media profiles, locations. There was a girl from my high school, my old boss, even my mom's coworker, Susan. I recognized her face instantly. Some of them had check marks next to them. Some didn't. At the bottom, in tiny red letters, "Selection guarantees broadcast." That's when I realized this wasn't a game. This wasn't some ARG. Someone had made a menu of people I knew, and all I had to do was choose. I closed the tab, but it didn't matter. The next day, I got an email. "Your selection has been made. Your broadcast begins tomorrow at 3 a.m. Would you like to watch?" I didn't respond. I didn't click anything. But at 2:59 a.m., the website opened again. And this time, there was no countdown. There was just a live feed, a dimly lit basement, a figure tied to a chair, crying, blurry face. But I knew the voice. It was Susan, my mom's coworker, and someone behind the camera whispered, "He asked to watch." I don't know how to even explain this part without sounding like a total lunatic. I didn't click anything. I didn't ask for it. But when the stream started, I watched. Not because I wanted to, because I couldn't look away. The screen loaded in pitch black at first. No audio. I thought maybe it glitched, but then I heard a faint buzzing, like a flickering light bulb, and as the feed brightened, I started recognizing details. Concrete walls, a pipe dripping in the background, exposed wires. There were tools hanging from a pegboard, not tools like a hammer or screwdriver. I'm talking pliers, box cutters, rusted saws, the kind of stuff you'd find in a garage from hell. And right there in the middle of the room, Susan, duct tape across her mouth, dried blood on her forehead, hands zip-tied behind her back, and legs strapped to the chair with what looked like leather belts. She was shaking like a leaf, but trying to scream behind the tape, trying to beg. I recognized her sweater. It was this dumb Christmas one she wore every year, even in September. Now it was ripped down the middle and soaked in sweat, dirt, and something I don't want to describe. Then the camera moved. It wasn't static like before. This time it zoomed in, slowly, surgically, on her face. You could see every wrinkle, every pore. Her eyes were wide with pure terror. She was looking at the camera like she knew someone was watching. And then I realized she was looking at me, like she knew. Then he walked into frame. The operator. I hadn't seen him before, only a silhouette in the thumbnail. But this time, he was wearing what looked like a black raincoat with a white surgical apron over it. You know how you see those serial killers in movies wearing that shiny plastic butcher apron? It was exactly that, except it was splattered with old, dried brown red. His face, still blurred, still wrong. Not pixelated, not censored, just missing, like my brain couldn't process it. Every time I tried to focus on it, I'd feel this headache crawl up the back of my skull, like something was blocking my vision. He stood there in silence, hands folded. Then he walked behind her, calmly, almost like he was waiting for a cue, and the screen flickered. A chat box appeared on the left side, just a black window, but messages started popping up, one by one. User 19_dead. Rip old lady LOL. Bleach mirror. Cut her ear first. The 3_doctor. Let the viewer pick. You/deleted. He's watching now. Let him choose. Then a poll appeared. Where should we start? Left eye. Fingernails. Tongue belly. Viewers vote now. I'm not joking. I sat there frozen, mouse hovering, my heart about to burst. The votes rolled in, live. Fingernails spiked immediately. She must have seen it on the monitor, because she started thrashing so hard the chair tipped, but the restraints held. And then the operator pulled out a flathead screwdriver. Nothing high-tech, just a grimy, basic hardware store screwdriver. I almost threw up. He kneeled beside her. Her hand was trembling. He placed her fingers on the edge of the table beside her, one by one, like he'd done this many times. Then without a word, he jammed the screwdriver under her thumbnail. I heard the sound. I heard the pop of skin breaking, the crack of the nail bending backward, and the muffled shriek she let out behind the duct tape. He didn't rush. He wasn't doing it for rage or adrenaline. He was doing it like a routine. One nail, then the next, then the next. By the third one, she fainted. The chat went wild. Noni. Wake her up, LOL. Down to bleed. Did she die already? SMH. He asked to watch. Viewer not responding. Should we pick a new one? You/deleted. He stays. It's his broadcast. I slammed my laptop shut. And it didn't matter, because the audio kept playing from inside the laptop, even with the screen off, even when I unplugged it. Susan's screams, the screwdriver, the chair creaking under her spasms, until it faded out with one final sound, a quiet voice whispering, "One target remains." I called the cops. I told them everything, the video, the messages, the names. They sent someone over, a detective. I expected him to treat me like I was crazy, but the second I said Susan, his face went pale. She'd gone missing. That morning, never showed up to work. Her car was still in her driveway. No signs of a break-in. Her phone was off. They were planning to issue a missing person alert that night. I showed him the website. It was gone. Just a 404 error now. The chat logs? Deleted. The screenshots I took? Corrupted. Just static when I opened them. Even the text message with the photo of me. It vanished. Like it never existed. I swear he didn't believe me. But he left his card anyway. Told me to call if anything else happened. Something else happened. That night, I got a new text. "You still watching?" Attached was a video. Me, sitting at the table, talking to the detective, from his body cam. I didn't sleep. I locked every door. I unplugged everything. I turned my phone off. Didn't matter. At 3 a.m., like clockwork, my TV turned on by itself. The same room, The same chair, but this time it was empty. No victim, just the operator, standing, waiting. He raised a hand and pointed directly at the screen, and the screen flashed red with 2 words, "Your turn," then black. The next morning, I checked Reddit. My account, suspended. The DM from deleted, gone. But there was a new thread on r/true crime. Title, watched a Red Room stream last night. Anyone else see the guy in the mask? First comment, U/N0NE. He's already seen too much. He knows what happens next. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I didn't even open the curtains. After that second stream, I genuinely thought I was losing my mind. I kept checking the locks. I moved my bed in front of the door. I even took the battery out of my phone. None of it mattered. The power went out at 3 a.m. 3 nights in a row. Each time, without fail, the TV turned itself on, even when it wasn't plugged in. The first night, it just displayed static. Nothing else. But the static had a rhythm, like breathing. Slow, deliberate. Inhale, exhale. It felt alive. The second night, it showed my street. A camera angle I didn't recognize. Probably a drone or something mounted outside. I could see my building, my window, and then the camera zoomed in. It didn't stop zooming. It just kept getting closer until I saw my own face, standing at the window, mouth open in horror. Only, I wasn't even at the window. That was the first night I considered ending everything, not because I was suicidal, but because the thought of waking up to that screen again made me physically sick. But night 3, that was different. Night 3, the door. It was exactly 3 a.m. TV, static. But this time, something emerged from the fuzz. A door, old wooden thing. Looked like it belonged in a 1950s basement. No handle, just a rusty keyhole and a faint red light leaking from the cracks. The static cleared just enough to show scratches, hundreds of them. Some looked like claw marks. Others were long, shallow carvings, like someone had tried to etch words into the wood with their nails. I pressed my ear to the screen, like an idiot, and I swear on my life, I heard something breathing on the other side of that door. Slow, animalistic. Then came the knock. 3 slow knocks, and a message appeared in blood-red font. Open it, or it opens you. I turned off the TV, yanked it out of the wall, and threw it down the stairs of my apartment complex. But even as it shattered, I could still hear the knocking. It echoed inside my walls, inside my head, like something was crawling through the insulation. The next morning, I did something I probably should have done weeks ago. I drove to my mom's house, 4 towns over. I didn't tell her what was going on, just said I needed to crash for a few days. I didn't bring anything, no phone, no laptop. I left it all behind, just the clothes on my back. And for 48 hours, nothing happened. No TV, no static, no knocks, until I opened the fridge on the 3rd day. There was a sticky note, yellow, wrinkled, written in what looked like red marker, or blood, honestly. I couldn't tell. Next time, knock first. Underneath it, a single thumbnail, ripped off, still wet. I ran. I went to the cops again, different precinct this time. Showed them the note. They confiscated it, took it to the lab, or whatever. They told me they'd get back to me. 2 hours later, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer. They left a voicemail. I'm not exaggerating when I say this was the most messed up voicemail I've ever heard. It started with static, then a woman crying. Susan. She was still alive, but it wasn't like the last stream. It wasn't clean or clinical. This sounded like she was deep underground, barely breathing, coughing blood. You could hear chains dragging, something dripping in the background, like thick liquid hitting concrete. And her voice, barely above a whisper, said, "He's not done. He's just starting. Run." Then a man's voice, distorted and wrong, came in. "That's enough of that." Click. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know who was doing this. I had to know how they were watching me. So I went back to my apartment, which was a mistake. Huge mistake. The second I opened the door, I knew someone had been there. Everything was where I left it, except there was a chair in the middle of my living room. Plain wooden thing, didn't belong to me, just sitting there. And on the chair was a mannequin, a life-sized one, dressed exactly like me. Same hoodie, same jeans, same scuffed Vans, but its face was wrapped in duct tape, tightly, almost like a cocoon. No features, no holes for breathing, just one slit across the mouth. And from that slit, something was leaking out. I got closer, real slow. It was teeth, human teeth, falling one by one from the mannequin's mouth. Each one landed with a soft click on the wooden floor, and there was a note tucked in the pocket of the hoodie. He asked to watch. Now he'll learn how it feels. I moved out that night. Didn't tell the landlord. Didn't tell anyone. I just left. Took a Greyhound bus to a random city. Didn't even care where. Somewhere with people. Somewhere with lights. Somewhere that didn't reek of him. But I wasn't fast enough. Because that night, while staying in a cheap motel just outside Chicago, I turned on the TV to distract myself, and it auto-tuned to a live channel. Black screen, then static, and then a classroom. Not some creepy dungeon this time. It looked like a regular public school classroom, the kind with yellow-tinted walls, those old-fashioned plastic chairs, a giant whiteboard, and in one of those chairs was me, or someone who looked exactly like me. Same face, same expression, same scar on my eyebrow from middle school. He was tied to the chair with jump ropes, bright colored ones like you'd find in a kindergarten PE class. And kids, maybe 6 or 7 years old, were sitting in a half circle in front of him. They were clapping. The operator walked into frame, pushing a small cart covered in tools, and he wrote something on the board. Lesson 1, disassembly. Then he handed one of the kids, a little girl with pigtails, a box cutter. The stream cut to static. I woke up in the bathtub, water full, ice cold. No memory of how I got in there. My fingernails were bleeding, and carved into my forearm, shallow but deliberate, was a message. This is the price of watching. You ever hear that theory that the dark web isn't a place, but a door? Like once you go deep enough, it stops being websites and starts being something else. Something alive? I believe it now. And I think when I clicked that link, when I saw that first countdown, I didn't just visit a site. I invited something in. If you've seen the door, if you've heard the knock, don't answer, and don't watch, no matter what. They're not showing you death. They're teaching you how to do it. And next time, you'll be holding the box cutter. I haven't used mirrors in 6 days. I taped over the ones in the motel. I covered the screen on my laptop with a shirt. I've stopped looking at my phone's front camera. Something about reflections now. They don't feel right, like they're showing things that aren't really there. Or worse, they are. A few nights ago, I accidentally caught my reflection in the microwave door. It smiled back at me. I didn't smile, and when I blinked, It didn't. You don't understand. You think this is just some cursed website, some edgy Red Room urban legend, but it's not. It's a network, a web of meat, wire, and intention, a system that feeds on curiosity. And I was the perfect target. Lonely, reckless, bored, a kid with Wi-Fi and no boundaries. I thought watching was the worst of it, but watching is just the bait. The real horror is when the feed turns around. Let me tell you what happened 2 nights ago, and I swear, after this, you'll never sleep the same again. I ended up in this dive motel off the I-70 in Colorado, the kind of place where the carpet smells like cigarettes and despair, and every room has a Bible with the middle pages torn out. There was a guy 2 rooms down, older, sunburned skin, gray beard, looked like he hadn't blinked since the Cold War. I ran into him when I was grabbing vending machine snacks at like 2 a.m. He stared at me and just said, "You watching too?" I didn't respond. I didn't have to. He knew. He stepped closer. I could smell the rot on his breath, like something dead was living in his stomach. And he said, "Once they get your image, you belong to the feed. Doesn't matter where you go. They carry you like a signal, and eventually they'll need to upload you." I backed away. He didn't follow. But as I walked back to my room, I heard the TV in his room turn on. And then the screaming started. I locked myself inside and pushed the dresser in front of the door, piled the mattress against the window. I had a knife with me from a gas station, barely sharp, but it felt better than nothing. Then the power cut out. I sat there in pitch darkness, counting the seconds between the buzzing in my ears. That's how I measure time now, by the ringing. And then I heard the static again. But this time, it wasn't from the TV. It was from my mouth. I was making the sound, unconsciously, like my throat was broadcasting. It sounded exactly like the noise from the feed. It was coming from inside me. I tried to scream, but my jaw wouldn't move. That's when the screen lit up. Not the TV. The wall, projected like a phantom light, was a new feed. Only this time, the quality was too real. It was 8K, high frame rate, no glitches. It was like I was inside it. A new room, white-tiled, sterile. Strapped to a medical bed was a man, young, fit, shirtless, duct tape over his mouth, tubes coming out of his arms and chest. He looked straight into the camera like he was seeing me. And the operator, he stood at the head of the bed, wearing hospital scrubs now. Face still blurred, like a smear in reality. This time, he didn't speak. He just held up a remote. And on the wall above the man's head, a screen turned on. It showed me, sitting in the motel, watching. I was the final viewer, and the feed began. Harvesting. That's what the top corner said. Red letters blinking, like a Twitch stream overlay. And the operator started working. But this wasn't a knife, not a gun, not a box cutter. It was a bone saw, the kind of thing morticians use. It buzzed with this wet industrial whine. He started with the man's ribs, cut straight through the sternum, and you could hear every snap, every muscle tear, every gurgle as the man choked on his own screams behind the tape. I couldn't look away. I tried. I swear I tried. I closed my eyes, but the feed was still there, playing on the inside of my eyelids like burned-in light. He cut out the lungs, one at a time, held them up to the camera, and then squeezed them like sponges. Pink foam spilled out. The man twitched. Blood leaked onto the white towel like spilled gasoline. The operator then placed the lungs into a cooler, marked feed material, ID number 483992, and the feed paused. Another poll appeared, just like before. Continue with eyes, spine, teeth, heart, final vote. No skipping. The chat was silent. No usernames. Just anonymous voices, typing in all caps. He's still watching. He voted last time. Make him choose. Then a new message appeared. U/N0E. Finish what you started. And the poll began forcing my hand. I mean that literally. My actual hand, my real hand, started shaking, lifting the remote by itself. I couldn't stop it. I was fully aware, completely conscious, but my muscles weren't mine. I pressed the down button, hovered over spine. The screen flashed. Selection confirmed. The operator nodded. He turned the man over, still alive, still gurgling. Then he began soaring into the lower back. I won't even try to describe the sound, but there was a spray of spinal fluid, of nerves, of ruined meat. It hit the camera lens, dripped down, fogging the screen. And then the man, this poor guy, whose eyes never stopped begging me to stop it, began convulsing so hard, his arms snapped inside the restraints. The operator kept going, until the body just stopped. A final twitch, then nothing. The feed turned black, and a final message appeared. Viewer has been linked. Feed relocation successful. I passed out. When I woke up, it was morning. The motel TV was gone, like physically removed. Brackets still on the wall, dust outline around where it used to be. There were muddy footprints by the door, bare feet, no shoes, human, but they didn't come in. They went out, from inside the room, from under the bed. There's one more thing, and this is the part I can't even say out loud without shaking. I finally got access back to my email. One single message was waiting. Subject: feed content alert from stream@torbridge.io. Attachment: feed _your turn _number 001 _live.mp4. I played it, and it was me, not present me, future me. Eyes blacked out, jaw unhinged, drenched in blood that wasn't mine. Standing in a room I don't recognize. Behind me, someone tied to a chair, screaming, begging, and I'm just smiling, like I'd done this before. Final part coming soon, but I don't think I'll survive to post it, because now I know what the feed is. It's not a show, it's a mirror, and we're all just watching ourselves. You ever stand so close to death that you can taste it? Not in some poetic, philosophical way. I mean actually taste it. Metallic, wet, thick, like you're chewing on battery acid and someone else's blood. That's what it feels like now, all the time. Every second I'm awake. It's like my body is rotting around my soul, while something else is waiting behind my eyes, breathing heavy and patient. Because something happened last night. Something final. Something that tells me I'm not a viewer anymore. I've been uploaded, and now I'm just waiting for my turn on screen. It started with the door, the one I saw in the stream back in part 3. Old, wooden, covered in scratches and stains, and teeth marks, and something older than blood. I saw it again, but not on the screen, not in a video. I saw it in real life. It was in the hallway of an abandoned gas station just outside Tulsa. I'd been on the run for days. No ID, no phone, just walking highway shoulders and sleeping under bridges like some lunatic doomsday prophet. I went inside looking for food or shelter or even just a wall to lean against. Instead, I found a door, right there at the end of a concrete hallway behind the employee restroom. No signage, no lights, just the door, leaking that same red glow from the cracks, breathing, Thud, 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 like something was pacing on the other side, and carved across the middle of it, jagged, raw, angry, were the words, "Broadcast begins once opened." I didn't touch it, but something did, because the second I blinked, the door was wide open. No sound, no creak, just open. And inside, nothing, just a chair, a small folding metal chair, rusted and wet, and a camera mounted on the ceiling, a real camera, old school VHS with a blinking red light, recording, and on the wall behind it, a mirror. My face was already sitting in the chair. I ran so far I puked, but no matter where I went, it followed me. I started seeing him in reflections again, the man from the feed, the operator, only he wasn't pixelated anymore. He had a face. It was mine, but older, worn, split down the middle, like someone had peeled it and stitched it back wrong. His mouth hung sideways, and his eyes never blinked. He just stared. And I think he's been me this whole time. That night, I found myself at a rest stop. And by found myself, I mean I woke up there, with no memory of how I got there. Hands stained black, under my nails. Hair, long dark hair, not mine. I checked the bathrooms, empty, but the mirror was covered in writing, carved into the glass. You were never watching. You were always recording. You chose this. Underneath those words was a photo, real, printed, taped to the mirror, a screenshot of the very first feed, the one with Susan in the chair. But there was something different. In the bottom left corner, in the reflection of a metal tray, was my silhouette, standing behind the camera. The next 24 hours are a blur of pain and screaming and hallucinations, or memories. I can't even tell anymore. I started hearing names in my sleep. People I know, people I knew, people I wish I'd never met. Teachers, co-workers, exes, childhood friends. And for each name, a scene would play behind my eyes. Mr. Porter, my old gym teacher, hanging from a hook in the locker room, peeled open like a deer carcass, with "Watch Me" branded into his chest. Emily, my first girlfriend, sewn into a beanbag chair, still breathing, mouthing the words, "You chose me." My own mother, trapped in a bathtub full of mirror shards, eyes carved out and replaced with GoPro lenses. And the worst part? I'm in every scene, smiling, calm, like I'm clocking in for work. I tried to kill myself. Let me be honest with you. I tried. I found a bridge, tall enough, isolated, middle of nowhere. I climbed up, wind in my ears, sky above me, black and full of pressure. And then my phone buzzed. I haven't had service in weeks. I don't even remember charging it. But the screen lit up, just a black background. One sentence, in red text. Jump and the feed goes live. I dropped the phone. It rang. It rang. A number, unknown. And against all logic, I picked up. There was no voice, just breathing. And then, my voice. From the other end. "You've already jumped. You just haven't hit the ground yet." That was last night. Now I'm here, sitting in a stranger's attic, someone I broke in on just to use their Wi-Fi and post this final entry. Because I found it, the source of the feed. And it's not a website, it's not a stream, it's a room, deep in some abandoned Cold War data center, buried beneath a forgotten Nevada mountain range. They call it the Black Broadcast. Not online, not satellite, not physical. It's psychic, transmitted through trauma, curiosity, guilt, and blood. Every viewer makes a new node. Every scream adds bandwidth. It's powered by regret. And every time you clicked, scrolled, paused, even just hovered over a thumbnail on the deep web, it logged you, tracked your thoughts, felt your pulse through your fingerprints, and now the feed knows you. Not just your face, your patterns, your worst memories, your buried secrets, your darkest wishes. If you watched even 1 second, you're already in it. You're in queue, and the feed is patient. You'll see the door. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it'll be there, at the end of a hallway, or in a dream, or in a reflection. And when you open it, the camera will be rolling, and the only thing they'll ask you is, would you like to watch? And when you say yes, when you choose, you won't be watching anymore. You'll be showing them everything. Viewer disconnected. Stream archived. Now broadcasting. I found a ritual on the dark web to make someone love you. She hasn't blinked in 2 days. Yo, what's up, guys? I don't even know how to start this, but screw it. This actually happened to me, and I've been freaking out for the past 3 days. I need to write this somewhere, and Reddit seems like the place where people actually read this type of stuff. If I die or go missing after this post, someone please save the files on my hard drive and get them to the police, especially the ones in the folder labeled Emma Project. I know how that sounds, but I swear to God, it's not what you think. Anyway, here's my story. So I'm just a regular dude, 23 years old, live in a small apartment outside of Chicago, work night shifts stocking shelves at Target. Nothing crazy. I'm not some creepy hacker or a cult freak. I literally spend most of my free time watching horror YouTubers like Luna or scrolling through TikTok until my brain turns to soup. A few months ago, I started going to this Starbucks on Belmont and Clark every morning after my shift. It was just habit. Coffee, maybe a breakfast sandwich, and then home to sleep. That's when I saw her. Emma. She worked the counter every Tuesday and Thursday. Blonde streaks in her hair, septum piercing, those clear round glasses, kind of nerdy cute vibe. Always wore a green knit beanie. She had a silver ring on her middle finger with an emerald in it that she never took off. I noticed because I paid attention, like a lot of attention. It wasn't like I was stalking her or anything. I was just fascinated. You ever get that feeling where you're like, me and this person were supposed to meet? Like, fated. That was Emma for me. I used to try and make little conversation with her. Stupid stuff like, long shift today? Or, how's the cold brew? She'd smile, say something polite, but that was it. Until I wanted more. I was on Reddit one night, scrolling through r/ascredit or something, when I saw this random comment thread where people were talking about the deep web. You know, not the normal internet we use every day. The stuff under the surface. The illegal stuff. I'd heard about it before. Drugs, weapons, weird services. Most of it is probably scams. But one guy said something that stuck with me. This ritual site, buried 9 layers in. It's invitation only. You can make someone love you using an offering, but it comes at a cost. I saved the comment. Weird, yeah. But at that point, I was desperate. Every time I talked to Emma, she just looked through me like I was a stranger. I felt like I was going insane thinking about her. So I started digging. I downloaded Tor. I used a VPN. I followed some sketchy directories I found on old pastebins. It took me about 2 weeks, but eventually I found something. A black page with red text at the top that said, Amare, Entrance for the devoted. There was no clickable link, just a blank field with the words, "Who do you love?" and a box that said, "Submit." I typed, "Emma." I didn't even think. The screen blinked. Then a timer appeared. 03:33:00. No sound, no explanation, just a countdown. I went back the next day. She wasn't there. I asked one of the other baristas, just casually, and they said Emma had called in sick. Okay. Weird. The timer was still going on my other screen at home, counting down slowly. I left my laptop open the whole time. I didn't touch anything, just kept watching that red clock tick down like it was attached to my heartbeat. When it hit 00, the screen went black. Then a message popped up. The devotion is accepted. She will be yours. Do not break the bond. Then the screen flashed, and everything closed out at once. My whole laptop shut down with a click. I'm not kidding. It was like the thing died, never turned back on. Emma came back to work the next day. She looked different. Same clothes, same green beanie, but she didn't blink. Not once. I mean literally. Not once in the 15 minutes I was sitting there. I thought maybe I was being paranoid, but I checked. I even fake yawned to see if she'd react. Nothing. She just kept staring ahead, making drinks, talking to customers, until she looked at me and smiled, but not a normal smile. It was like too wide, like her face stretched, and her eyes, they were glossy, like mannequin glass, and still, no blink. When she called out my order, vanilla sweet cream cold brew for Jake, I felt this rush in my chest, like someone had just grabbed my heart and squeezed it. She said my name like she'd known me forever, like we were already together. That night, I got a DM on Instagram from a burner account. It was a photo of me, sleeping in my bed. The caption said, "She's watching you now. Do not break the bond." I didn't sleep that night. I checked every lock. I covered my webcam. I even unplugged my TV. I don't know how they got the photo. My bedroom window is on the 3rd floor, and I don't have any cameras in there. I haven't told anyone about this yet, because honestly, who the hell would believe me? But here's where it gets really, really messed up. That was 2 days ago. I've seen Emma every day since, in the same spot, same outfit, always with that smile. She still hasn't blinked. Not once. All right. If you're reading this, you either don't believe me, or you do, and that's worse. Either way, you asked for more, and I swear to God, I wish I had just shut up and kept this to myself, because after this post, you won't be able to unsee what I saw. I didn't go to work the next night. I couldn't. Not after getting that DM of me sleeping. I called out sick, which I never do, because my manager is a nightmare. But even she didn't argue. Said I sounded weird and hung up. I sat in the dark all night with a baseball bat next to me and every light turned off. I kept checking Instagram, waiting to see if the burner account would post again. But the message was gone, like it was never there. The profile didn't exist anymore. My apartment smelled weird, like raw meat and bleach. Around 4 a.m., I got up to get a water bottle. My throat was dry like sandpaper. That's when I noticed it. The fridge was slightly open, just enough for the light inside to spill out onto the tile floor. I didn't remember opening it, but I figured maybe I had. I'd barely slept the night before. I closed it, but it clicked back open. I stepped back. There was something stuffed in the space between the door and the fridge. Something soft, wedged in the seal. I pulled it out slowly, not even breathing, It was a Starbucks apron, green, still damp. The inside was soaked with something thick and brownish red. Not blood exactly, but it smelled like pennies and rotten milk. I dropped it, ran to the sink. Dry heaved until my ribs hurt, but I wasn't done. Something thumped inside the fridge, heavy, like someone dropping a steak. I turned back, and I swear, I wish I was making this up. There was a chunk of scalp on the top shelf, with hair still attached, blonde, streaked, and right next to it, a silver ring with a green emerald in the middle. I didn't even call the cops. I don't know why. No, that's a lie. I do know why. Because that wasn't Emma's scalp. Not really. And yet, it was. You know how when you look at a doll or a wax figure, it looks like a human, but not really. Like your brain knows it's wrong. That's what it felt like. That chunk of flesh was Emma, but not the one I saw at Starbucks. This was something else. Something used. Like the remains of the version I asked for. I slammed the fridge shut. I took the apron, the hair, the ring, and shoved it all into a garbage bag. I didn't throw it out. I just put it in the tub and closed the curtain. I didn't know what else to do. The next day, I went to the Starbucks again. Don't ask why. Curiosity, guilt, obsession. Emma was there. Same green beanie, same glasses, same no blinking. But now, there was a line of what looked like staples along her hairline, like someone had sewed her scalp back on. Wrong. She smiled again, but it was worse than the last time. Her mouth didn't open naturally. It cracked, like there were wires pulling her lips back, like it physically hurt her to make that face. Her teeth were too white, like they'd been replaced. Too perfect, veneer-like. When she handed me my cold brew, I looked down at the cup and saw something etched into the plastic with a needle. Do not break the bond. She will rot without you. I threw the drink in the trash and walked home in broad daylight, like a zombie. I sat in my room for hours, not moving, not blinking, just scrolling through old videos on my phone. I had a short clip I took of Emma the first day I saw her, just her making drinks in the background. I opened it up to watch it again, but the footage had changed. Now, the video zoomed in slowly on her face. Her eyes tracked the camera the whole time, like she knew I was filming her, even though she was never supposed to be looking my way. At the end of the clip, just before it cut out, her lips moved ever so slightly. I replayed it 5, 6 times, slowed it down. She said 3 words. I hear you. I didn't sleep again. Around 2 a.m., I heard a scratching sound on the inside of the bathroom door, like nails, long and deliberate. The kind you hear in horror movies and think, no way something makes that noise in real life. It was real. I grabbed the bat and swung open the door. Nothing, except the garbage bag in the tub was open. The scalp was gone, and in its place, there was a Polaroid of me, taken from the hallway outside my apartment door, staring directly into the peephole. Only thing is, I've never taken that photo, but I recognize the shirt I was wearing. It was the same one I wore the night I typed Emma into that ritual site. On the back of the photo, in that same scratched, needle-like handwriting, it said, "You belong to her now." And then the dream started. I've had them every night since. In them, Emma is sitting at my kitchen table. She's always facing away from me. Her hair is wet, dripping, like she's been marinating in something. She's humming a song I don't recognize, but it makes me bleed from the ears every time I hear it. In the dream, I try to move, to scream, to wake up, but I can't. I'm stuck. And then she turns around. Her face is caved in, like it's rotting from the inside. Her left eye is missing. Her lips are stitched shut with what looks like thread made from human hair. And when she opens her mouth, because yes, she still opens it despite the stitches, she doesn't speak. She screams, but not like a human scream. It's a noise I can't describe without wanting to rip my own skin off, like metal screaming inside a blender, like an autopsy table remembering pain. Last night, I woke up with a note stapled to my chest, not taped, not written, and left on the bed, stapled. It wasn't bleeding. The skin was closed around it, like it had been there for days. I had no memory of how it got there. It said, "If you stop loving her, she will take your face." One layer at a time, I can't go outside anymore. Every time I leave the apartment, I see her. Not just at Starbucks, not just in my dreams, everywhere. She was in the window of the McDonald's drive-thru on Western, wearing a headset, smiling with teeth that didn't fit in her mouth. She was sitting in the back of a red line train at 3 a.m, just staring at me, head tilted, blood dripping down her collarbone onto her apron. She was standing behind a couple taking selfies at Millennium Park, waving. No one noticed her but me. She's following me, or maybe I'm following her. I don't know anymore. I finally opened the dark web again last night, on a different laptop I stole from work. I tried to go back to that ritual site, but the link was gone. The page is dead, just static. Except, it wasn't. After 5 minutes, the screen flickered. A new message popped up. There is no reverse. The devotion is eternal. You made her real. And now, she's hungry. I don't know what to do. I'm scared to sleep. I'm scared to eat. I haven't looked in a mirror in 3 days because every time I catch my reflection, her face is looking back at me. And the worst part, she's blinking now, but only when I do. If I post again, you'll know I survived. If I don't, check the fridge. There's room for one more. If you're still reading this, then you've either completely lost your grip on reality like I have, or you're next. This isn't a joke. This isn't a story. This isn't fun scary. This isn't fiction. This is a slow motion possession, a human sacrifice, paid in social media, likes and skin, and I think I'm the final layer she needs to wear. I don't think Emma was ever her real name, and I no longer think she was ever human. I haven't left my apartment in 4 days. I turned all the mirrors around, unplugged every electronic device, covered every window with garbage bags and thumbtacks. I duct taped my phone to the inside of the toilet tank. Don't ask why, it just felt safer there. But she still gets in, not physically, not yet, but through audio, through video, through glitches in old recordings, through my own voice, played back wrong. I found my Spotify playing songs I never queued up, stuff that doesn't even show up in the public search anymore. One of them was just titled, "She Wears the Voice of the First." The lyrics were in reverse, Latin, I think, but I recognized a few words after looking them up. Stuff like bind, devotion, hollow, lover's debt, and one that I keep hearing in my head at night like a heartbeat. Flecta non potest, amor tenebris, it cannot bend. Love belongs to the dark. You want the details? Fine. Let's talk about what happened 2 nights ago. I was trying to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I felt something crawl over my chest like a spider with human hands. Not walking, pressing, like it was testing me, measuring me. like I was a box she was trying to fit inside. I snapped awake to the sound of the shower running. I live alone. I grabbed the bat again and crept toward the bathroom. I was half expecting another Polaroid or more of that sick scalp meat stuffed in the drain. Instead, the shower curtain was open, and in the tub, hunched over with her back to me, was a figure wrapped in skin. Like, not wearing skin, wrapped in it. Different colors, different textures, some pale, some dark, some covered in bruises and hair and surgical tape. Pieces stitched together like a quilt. You ever see one of those early 2000s flesh-colored mannequins in department stores that don't have faces? That, but wet. It was breathing. I swear to God, it was breathing. The water was running cold, but the steam in the room smelled like old meat left in a microwave for 3 hours. The figure slowly turned its head, revealing a jaw that wasn't attached right. It clicked open. Teeth scraped the floor of the tub. There were no eyes, just black sockets. But the mouth, oh God, the mouth moved like it was trying to remember how to be human. It tried my name. JJ. Ah. Kra. The sound didn't come from the throat. It came from inside the skin, like someone was rattling my name through a can full of worms. I screamed. It smiled. Then it stood up. 6 feet of stitched up horror, dripping blood and shower water, pieces flapping off its sides, and started to walk toward me. I slammed the door shut and shoved the dresser in front of it. The breathing on the other side stopped, and a second later, a piece of paper slid under the door. It was a page from one of those stupid notebooks they give kids in elementary school, the ones with blue lines and a red margin. Only this one was soaked in something oily, and the letters were drawn in blood. I know how dramatic that sounds. I know, but I'm serious. The message read, "She needs more faces. You took her from the void. You owe her. That was 2 nights ago. I haven't eaten since. Can't risk opening the fridge." I started hearing Emma's voice on TikTok. Not a joke. Random videos, cat videos, makeup tutorials, even a dude making pancakes. She's in the background, just whispering, saying things like, "Where do you keep your bones? He tastes like static. Take off your mask. I know you're under there. I blinked for you. Now it's your turn." And the worst part? My face is in the reflection of the pancake pan. Every single video, and not me watching. Me staring into the lens, expressionless, shirtless, mouth stitched shut. I tried to delete my accounts, deleted my Instagram, my TikTok. I tried to shut down my Facebook, but it was already gone. Gone, but still active. When I Googled myself, the first thing that came up was a Facebook memorial page. Rest in peace, Jacob, Jake, M, 2000 to 2023. I'm not dead, but people are commenting like I am. Gone too soon. He was such a sweet soul. Even Emma commented, "You never said goodbye. I wore your smile for nothing. I found something in my mailbox this morning. No return address. Just my name, written in Sharpie on a padded envelope. Inside was a GOPRO, still running, still blinking. I plugged it into my old laptop. Only one file on it. A 2-hour video of me, sitting at the edge of my bed, carving something into my thigh with a fork. I watched myself cry, scream, laugh, cry again, but the sounds were backward. At the end of the video, the camera slowly zoomed in on my leg. I had carved the word beloved. Below it, something in that same foreign language I saw on the dark website, Vita Vestrum Nunc mea est. Your life is now mine. You want to hear the most psychopathic part? I don't even remember doing it. I checked my leg. The scar is there. I've been walking around like this for weeks, like a branded cow, and I didn't even know. I've started hearing her voice inside my body, not in my head. That would be normal at this point, inside my jaw. When I yawn, sometimes my mouth opens too far, like something is tugging on it from the inside. I bit down last night in my sleep and woke up choking on hair. Human, blonde, still warm. And earlier tonight, I heard something tapping from inside my chest, from the inside, like someone knocking on a door, made of ribs. You still think this is just a story? You think this is something a creep made up for internet karma? Then tell me why my webcam turns on by itself every night at 3:33 a.m., even when it's unplugged. Tell me why the Uber Eats driver left a bag of rotten teeth instead of the McChicken I ordered. Tell me why there are scratch marks on the inside of my apartment walls, like someone tried to dig their way out. Tell me why Emma is sitting at the end of my bed right now, cross-legged, blinking in perfect sync with me. Tell me that. Don't say I didn't warn you. And don't look at your reflection tonight. She might be wearing your face now. There's a noise my mouth makes now when I open it too wide. It's not a yawn. It's not a pop. It's a sound like wet string being pulled through a bone flute. It only started after she fed me. I don't remember what I ate. I don't even remember taking a bite. All I know is I blacked out sometime after 4 a.m. And when I came to, my hands were slick with blood, not mine, and my face was sticky with something thick and black that smelled like burnt flowers and gasoline. My jaw hurt like I'd been chewing through a wallet. There were scraps of something fleshy stuck between my teeth. I went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror. Something had changed. I didn't blink. Not once. Let me back up. I know what you're here for. You want more horror. More, oh God, what's real, what's not. More nightmare fuel to eat like popcorn and giggle about later. But you're too late for that. This isn't a story anymore. This isn't a haunted Reddit post. This is a transmission. And if you're still reading, it's already inside you too. Let me tell you about the live stream. It happened 36 hours ago. I was sitting in the dark again. No lights, no sound, not even breathing heavy, just existing like a meat puppet stuffed with paranoia. I hadn't slept. I hadn't eaten. The TV was unplugged. My phone was locked in a mason jar filled with rice and Gorilla Glue. And then I heard laughter, but not from inside my apartment, not in my head, from the hallway, right outside my door. A man, laughing like he was watching stand-up comedy, short bursts of breathy wheezing, like he couldn't get enough air from laughing so hard. Then, a knock. No rhythm, just one slow knock, and then silence, until my TV turned on by itself. It didn't power on like normal. No boot up, no startup screen, just static. For a second, I thought it was busted, but the static shifted, like something was crawling inside the pixels. Then the screen went black, and my face appeared. But I wasn't holding a camera. I wasn't filming. This was a live stream, with a view count. 1 million, then 2, then 10. Then hearts started floating up the corner of the screen, like an Instagram live. He's so beautiful. He blinked finally. LOL. Is that skin on his teeth? OMG, I want one. Where do I buy him? Then someone tipped, like actual money. And the username was just @Emma. Underscore was first. I was watching myself on screen. sitting in my chair, mouth slack, eyes empty, face twitching like I was trying to remember how to hold human expressions. And then a hand slid into the frame. Her hand, long fingers, with the nails peeled halfway off, bone showing through, dripping some kind of pus-thick fluid that hissed when it touched my shoulder. On the stream, I didn't react, because that version of me was already dead inside. The live stream continued. Someone typed, "Make him love her again." He forgot. Another tip. The screen flickered. Then I, stream me, stood up, slowly, jerkily, like I was being puppeted by a hand made of barbed wire. I, walked over to a wall. No wall I recognized. It was covered in faces, not photos. Actual faces, peeled, preserved, pinned like butterflies. Some were stitched back together into masks. Some still had eyes. Some blinked, even though they weren't attached to anything. He's gonna pick a new one. Which one fits him best? A lol. Let him wear. Mine, PLs. Emma, I was first. I was first. I was first. Then another knock on my real door. This time, 2 knocks. I didn't move. The live stream froze, but the reflection in the stream, the TV behind me, kept going. I watched as Emma stepped into the room, but she wasn't Emma anymore. She was wearing Emma, like a suit, except now her arms were too long, fingers dragging on the floor like liquid bones, eyes blinking at different speeds. Her mouth was just teeth, no lips, just gums and enamel, and a tongue split down the middle like a serpent's. She leaned into Stream Me's ear and whispered something I couldn't hear, and then she turned and stared right at me. Not Stream Me. Me. In my apartment. Like the screen was a window. The lights in my apartment exploded. All of them. Sparks showered from the ceiling like it was the 4th of July in hell. And the TV screen cracked from the inside. Blood started leaking out. I swear on every god left above and below, the TV bled. I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't work. I was frozen, like I was waiting for a command. And then I remembered, do not break the bond. You want to know what happens when you try? I'll tell you. I did it. I said it out loud. I screamed it into the darkness. I don't love you. I screamed it so hard I ripped something in my throat. And the moment I did, everything stopped. The TV turned off. The laughing in the hallway stopped. The smell of bleach and meat disappeared. I collapsed. And for the first time in a week, I slept. I woke up to silence. No knocks, no static, no stream. I thought maybe I won. Maybe I broke the ritual. Maybe she gave up. Then I checked my phone. One notification. Airdrop request. Emma would like to share a photo with you. My hands shook. I didn't accept. I couldn't. But the photo downloaded anyway. It was a selfie of me, sleeping. And behind me, in my bed, in my skin, was her, wearing me like a hoodie, and smiling with my teeth, with Emma's eyes. I tried to cut my face off last night. Don't freak out. I didn't go through with it, but I stood in the mirror for 2 straight hours with a box cutter pressed to my cheekbone, whispering, "It's not mine. It's not mine. It's not mine." Because it isn't. She's in here now, behind the eyes, behind the voice. And when I speak, sometimes I can hear her voice layered underneath mine, echoing, repeating, correcting me. So here's your warning. If you ever see a post, a thread, a dark web page that asks, "Who do you love?" Don't answer, don't joke, don't test it, because you're not making them love you. You're inviting her in, and she will take everything your body, your face, your online presence. She'll smile through your profile pic. She'll blink through your live streams. She'll laugh with your voice in other people's dreams. She'll answer texts you never sent. She'll date people in your name, and they'll never know, because the only way to stay alive is to keep loving her back. They say the last thing a person feels before they die is peace. That's a lie. The last thing I felt was her tongue sliding into my ear like a worm, whispering in a voice that wasn't hers, wasn't even human anymore. There is no you. There's only us. This is the end, not of the story. The story is still happening, whether you believe it or not. But this is the end of me, because I am not the person who started typing this 5 days ago. I am not the man who went to Starbucks and fell in love with a girl who never blinked. I am not the creature who answered a question on a black screen on a cursed corner of the internet and offered a name with trembling hands. That person is rotten somewhere inside this body, whispering prayers with no God left to hear them. And now there's only her, and she's still so hungry. You want one more scene to haunt you? Fine, let's make this count. 3 hours ago, I left my apartment for the first time since this all began. I wrapped myself in 4 layers of clothing, sunglasses, gloves, a hoodie over a mask, anything to hide my face. I was going to the police. I didn't care if they thought I was insane. I needed to be somewhere that wasn't crawling with her. I walked past a preschool. Outside, little kids were drawing on the sidewalk in chalk. One of them, a little girl no older than 5, dropped her crayon when she saw me. She stared, then smiled, then said, "I see the lady in your face." She wasn't scared. She waved. I ran. Didn't stop running until I reached the nearest police station, a rundown red brick building that smelled like printer toner and mildew. I slammed through the door, out of breath, shaking, covered in sweat. The officer at the desk looked up at me, but not with surprise, not with confusion. He looked like he'd been waiting. "You're the one she chose." That's what he said. Not, "Can I help you?" Not, "Do you need assistance?" Just, "You're the one she chose." I turned and ran again. It's everywhere now, not just Emma. The infection, the devotion, it's spread. People are starting to act strange, too still, too polite, too clean, like they're rehearsing being human instead of actually living it. Every person I pass, I check their eyes, and if they don't blink, I don't speak. Back home, I opened my laptop. There was a file on the desktop I didn't put there. A video, titled simply, "Offering Accepted Final.mp4. I watched it. I watched myself be carved open, not fast, slow, surgical, loving, like an artist peeling apart a canvas to see what's behind the paint. In the video, Emma, or what's wearing her skin, is humming a song, the same one from my dreams, the one that makes my gums bleed when I hear it, as she removes my face, not all at once, not like a mask, layer by layer, skin, then sinew, then muscle. She peels my smile off and folds it neatly into her purse. She sews my eyelids open and places me in front of a mirror, whispering, "Smile for them." They're watching, and behind me, in the reflection, millions of faces are pressed to the glass. No bodies, just faces, all blinking in unison. I closed the laptop, but the humming didn't stop, because it wasn't coming from the laptop anymore. It was coming from inside the walls. You think that's the scariest part. Number. The scariest part is this. I don't want it to stop. It's comforting now. Her voice. her touch, the way my blood doesn't feel like mine anymore, the way I don't flinch when I see her, the way I let her sleep in my bed now. Last night, I didn't scream when she climbed inside my skin again. Last night, I helped her stitch the zipper shut. There's something under my fingernails. It's not dirt. It's someone's eyelashes. I don't know whose, but they blink when I press them against my neck. I tried to write a goodbye note, but my hands don't write in English anymore. The letters come out twisted, in the same language the site used, the same one etched in my thigh, carved into my walls, whispered into my spine like code. Vos omnes sumus, nullus solus. We are all. None are alone. You want to know what devotion really is? It's not love. It's removal of doubt, of identity, of fear. It's surrendering so completely that you forget where you end and they begin. It's letting her put on your body like a wedding dress and parade it through the streets of your memories. It's watching yourself die and not caring. She feeds through recognition. She spreads through attention. Every view, every like, every curious glance into the abyss. She grows. You've already fed her by reading this. She's in you now. Maybe not fully. Not yet. But tonight, when you go to bed, if you wake up at 3:33 a.m. and the light from your phone turns on, even though you didn't touch it, and there's a new video in your feed with your face as the thumbnail, don't watch it and don't blink. Because if you do, she'll know you're ready. A dark web stream shows the inside of a UFO. One of the passengers is my neighbor. Alright, I've debated with myself for a long time about whether or not to post this. Honestly, I still don't know if this is going to make things worse for me, but I just need to put it somewhere. If something happens to me after this, you'll know why. So this all started about 3 weeks ago. I'm 21, in college, not gonna say where exactly, but it's a pretty decent-sized campus near Chicago. I live in one of those off-campus apartment buildings where every room smells like cheap weed and ramen. You know the type. Anyway, my roommate Jake is one of those Reddit rabbit hole conspiracy theory at 3 a.m. kind of dudes. He's always talking about weird stuff he reads on deep forums, like government projects, AI surveillance, alien black sites, all that. I usually just laugh and tell him to chill on the Monster Energy drinks, but that night, he showed me something different. We were both up late, like 2:45 in the morning. I was playing Valorant. He was doing whatever he does on his laptop, with the lights off, like a total cryptid. Then he goes, "Bro, I found something. You're gonna want to see this." Now, I've seen some weird stuff from him before. Like he once showed me this YouTube video where a guy claimed to be a time traveler and predicted Kanye would disappear in 2023. Weird, but funny. But this was different. His voice had this nervous shake to it, and he wasn't making eye contact. He turned his laptop toward me. It was a live stream. No title, no chat, no comments. Just a video. And it wasn't on YouTube or Twitch or anything mainstream. He got to it through Tor, that browser you need to use to access the dark web. I knew the drill. He had his VPN, a burner laptop, all that sketchy cybersecurity stuff. He said the link just showed up in a locked Discord server he's in. No context. Just a .onion link with the name Sector F9 Live. At first, it looked like a typical low-quality surveillance cam. The camera was mounted in the corner of some dimly lit room. It had these flickering, cold blue lights and metallic walls, like a hospital or a military base. Except, everything felt off. There were no windows, no doors, and no sounds except for this weird humming, like an industrial fridge, but lower, like sub-bass. Then the camera cut. Suddenly, we were looking at a different room. It looked sterile. Circular walls, almost like the inside of a submarine or something. There were 5 people in there, just sitting, not talking. They were all in identical gray jumpsuits, barefoot, staring at the floor. And that's when my stomach dropped, because sitting in the back, in the left corner, half covered in shadow, was my freaking neighbor. Yeah, Dan. Freaking Dan from 4B, mid-30s, works at the Starbucks 2 blocks down. Kinda antisocial, always wearing black jeans and a hoodie, always looking tired. We shared an Uber once by accident, and he didn't say a single word the whole ride. But that was him, no doubt. Dude, that's Dan, I said, almost laughing, because there was no way this was real. Jake just stared at the screen, mouth open. I thought it looked familiar too, he mumbled. The stream kept cutting every few minutes to new rooms. One looked like a lab, with jars of organs on shelves. Another was a hallway, completely smooth, like it was made of molded plastic or something, with no seams. Each time it cut back to the room with the people, they looked worse, like they were decaying in real time. Sunken eyes, pale skin, and they never spoke. Dan didn't move at all. Jake tried to trace the IP, but got nothing. Then the stream glitched for a second, and a message popped up in plain white text over the video. You're next. 192.168.1.117. That's our local IP address. We slammed the laptop shut. Jake yanked the battery out. We both sat there in silence, heart pounding like crazy. I tried to play it off like it was some prank, some ARG or fake stream. But the next morning, Dan was gone. I'm not kidding. His apartment was wide open, lights on, mail still in his box. I knocked, called out, nothing. A couple of neighbors said they hadn't seen him in days, but I literally saw him coming home 2 nights before. His cat was still inside, scratching at the door. I told myself it was a coincidence, that I was tired, that maybe Dan had just taken off or something. But that day, Jake's phone bricked. Wouldn't turn on at all. Mine started getting weird texts with just strings and numbers. Coordinates, maybe? One of them pointed to a location in Nevada, right outside Groom Lake. Yup, Area 51. This is where stuff really starts going downhill. I started noticing weird cars parked on my street late at night. Black vans, tinted windows. Not even joking. One night, I was walking back from the McDonald's nearby, and I swear, one of the vans followed me for 3 blocks before turning off its headlights and disappearing. Then Jake disappeared. I came home from class and his room was trashed. His burner laptop was gone. Only thing left was a post-it note stuck to my door. Don't look for me. Don't go back on the dark web. It's real. So here I am, writing this on a backup Reddit account I haven't used in years. I don't even know who to trust anymore. I went to the cops. They said Jake probably just left, and Dan might have moved out. Classic. But here's the part that still keeps me up every night. Last night, I got an Instagram DM from an account with 0 followers, no profile pic, and the handle Observer94. No message, just a single image attachment. It was a screenshot from the stream. The same room, same camera angle. Only this time, I was sitting in the corner in the gray jumpsuit, and I was smiling. You ever look at a photo of yourself and just know something is wrong? Like the lighting's right, the angle is perfect, but your expression feels off, not like you blinked or looked away. I'm talking soul level wrong. That was the photo I got. My own face, frozen in some psychotic smile I know I never made. My teeth were too white. My eyes were too wide. My jaw looked unhinged, like I had just snapped. I stared at that image for a full minute before I realized something else. There was no reflection in my eyes, no light bounce, no glimmer, just pure, matte black, like someone had taken a Sharpie and colored them in. The second I blinked, the image disappeared, deleted from the message thread. The Observer 94 account, gone too, like it had never existed. I took screenshots. My phone crashed. The screen bled red and green pixels before shutting off completely. I didn't sleep that night, not even for a second. I locked my door, pushed my desk against it, and sat in the corner with my baseball bat. Yes, I own a bat. I played JV back in high school, like it would do anything against whatever this is. I don't know how to explain what happened next in a way that doesn't sound completely insane, but I need you to understand this happened. I swear, on my life. Around 3:14 a.m., no joke, I checked the time. My entire apartment went silent. No creaks, no humming fridge, no sirens in the distance, just pure static silence, like someone hit a mute button on the world. Then, the power cut, and in that pitch blackness, I heard a voice. Not from the apartment, not outside. It was inside my head. We already replaced your neighbor. You're next. Smile for the camera. The power flicked back on. Every device in the apartment powered on at once. Laptop, TV, microwave. My Echo Dot started playing white noise. Spotify on my PC loaded up a playlist called Sector F9 Intake with only one track, 00:00 long, no audio. And then every screen showed my face. That same image from the DM, the smile. Except now, the face was moving. It blinked, tilted its head, smiled wider, and then it started screaming. No sound, just silent, open mouth screaming from every screen in the apartment. It was like watching a recording of someone having their soul peeled out through their eyes. I couldn't move. I couldn't even breathe. When I finally yanked the plug from the wall, every screen snapped black. Everything went back to normal like it never happened. I ran out of the apartment barefoot. I didn't even grab my keys, just bolted down the stairwell, out onto the street, into the city. I walked until sunrise. McDonald's on Clark and Belmont was the first place open. I sat there, shaking, for almost 2 hours with a hash brown and a Coke, just trying to act normal. Nobody around me had any idea that I was being hunted by something that knew my face. When I finally went back home, my apartment was different. The door was locked from the inside. I had pushed a desk against it when I left. The desk was still there, but the door was dead bolted, which meant someone had been inside after me and locked it from within. I don't even know how that's possible. I had to call maintenance to get in. They just thought I was locked out and high. But when I got in, everything was spotless, like hotel room levels of clean. Carpet vacuumed, dishes done, sheets tucked like military corners. Even the air smelled different, like sterile plastic, like a dentist's office. Jake's room? Empty, like he'd never existed. His stuff, his posters, his desk, even his dirty laundry, gone. And on my bed, folded perfectly, was a gray jumpsuit. No tag, no logo. just folded neatly, like it was waiting for me. I threw it out. Next day, I'm sitting at this Starbucks near Wrigley Field, trying to use public Wi-Fi to message people. Reddit, Discord, even tried emailing myself. Everything gets scrambled. My messages post, then vanish. I get error codes I've never seen before. My Gmail locks me out and tells me my IP is associated with classified network interference. What does that even mean? I finally found an old friend on Facebook, Sarah. We used to be close in high school before she moved to Vancouver. She's into tech and privacy stuff, so I told her everything. She went dead silent for like 5 minutes, then finally sent, "I think you got tagged by a latch protocol." I asked her what that was. She said it's something rumored in dark web tech circles, a kind of biometric mimicry program. It scans you through your devices and builds a copy. Voice, face, gestures, even your typing rhythm. Once it has enough data, it replaces you in digital space, then in physical space, like deepfake, but on a quantum level. A living, breathing duplicate. Except, it doesn't pretend to be you. It becomes you. She told me people who've been latched start seeing glitches in their reflections. Friends forget them. Family won't answer their calls. And worst of all, eventually, they wake up somewhere they don't recognize. And they're not alone. I told her about the stream, about Dan, about Jake. She stopped replying for a bit. Then she sent this. "Don't look at any more streams. Don't accept video calls. Don't even glance at mirrors longer than 3 seconds. They're watching through reflections." I was like, this can't be real. It's just some elaborate ARG, right? Some SCP-style fan project. But then Sarah's profile disappeared. Just like Jake. Just like Dan. Like she never existed. I searched her name. Gone. Reverse image searched her profile photo. No results. Even her Reddit handle, which I remembered, now links to a banned account for uploading classified biometric data. That night, I stayed at a cheap motel near O'Hare. You know the kind where the lights buzz, and there's a vending machine from 1996. I turned off every screen, covered every reflective surface with towels, tried to sleep. At 4:11 a.m., I woke up to my TV turning itself on. I swear I unplugged it. This time, it wasn't a live stream. It was footage of me, sleeping, from inside the motel room. Room, same blanket, same angle, from above my bed. The timestamp on the video, 4 minutes in the future. Then it skipped forward. Me, still sleeping. Then the door slowly opening. Then something crawling in on the ceiling. Its body was me. Same clothes, same hair, same everything. Only its limbs were too long, and it had no face. Just skin, where eyes and a mouth should be. It slithered down the wall like gravity didn't apply to it. Walked to the side of my bed, tilted its head, watched me, and then the video skipped again, to a frame where my body was gone from the bed, and only it remained. That's when the TV screen started glitching. It showed dozens of versions of that room, all with different me's, some tied down, some crying, some screaming silently, with their jaws broken open, and in every one, that faceless thing stood over them, watching. Before I could even move, the screen shut off. Silence again. I didn't sleep. I left that motel at sunrise, didn't even take my bag, and now I've started noticing something worse. People are watching me, not in a paranoid way. I mean, people are standing still, staring, not blinking. Baristas, cab drivers, tourists, even a kid at Target. They'll stop, dead in their tracks, and just stare at me like they're waiting for something. And when I confront them, they just walk away. No reaction. Last night, I was in the bathroom at a Starbucks near Union Station. I looked into the mirror, just for a second, and my reflection winked. I swear to God, I didn't blink. I just stared, frozen, as my reflection winked, then smiled. The same smile as the photo, that inhuman, too wide, broken jaw smile. I smashed the mirror. Behind it, there was another camera, a tiny black lens buried into the wall, not a regular security cam. This thing looked surgical, like it belonged in an operating room, and written under it, in the smallest font, property of Sector F9, Observer, Node 47, do not remove. I ran, and now I'm writing this in a Walmart parking lot, leeching Wi-Fi from the subway inside. It's raining. I haven't eaten in 12 hours. Every time I blink, I feel like something's changing. I looked at a puddle earlier. My reflection blinked after I did. I don't know how much time I have left, but if you're reading this, don't look for the stream. Don't click any link that seems off. Don't stare at your reflection too long, because once they tag you, you don't come back. And the thing that replaces you, it doesn't need to pretend. It just waits and smiles. Let me just start by saying this. Nothing about me feels human anymore. Not because I've changed physically, at least not yet, but because when you're hunted by something that wears your face, that knows your thoughts, that thinks it's you, it's like watching your soul get eaten one pixel at a time. And the worst part, you start wondering if it was ever really you in the first place. It's been 6 days since I last slept. 6. My eyes twitch on their own now. I hear whispers in Bluetooth headsets that aren't connected to anything. I don't even trust my reflection enough to wash my face. I just splash my sink with my eyes shut and pray I don't open them to something else looking back. After what happened in the motel, the stream, the faceless version of me, crawling in like some upside-down corpse spider, I knew I couldn't stay in one place. So I've been living like an animal, constantly on the move. Trains, gas stations, airport lounges, hiding in 24-hour gyms just to use the showers. I've even slept in a storage unit I found left open behind a moving truck depot. And I wish I could tell you that the sightings stopped, that once I left the apartment or deleted my digital footprint, it all just went away. But if anything, it's evolved. The cafe incident, this happened 2 nights ago. I hadn't eaten in like 20 hours and stumbled into one of those posh, hipster horror movie looking cafes that open at midnight to cater to Chicago's artsy weirdos. You know the vibe. Dim hanging lights, vinyl playing on a turntable, some guy reading House of Leaves in the corner like it's a flex. I ordered a coffee. The girl behind the counter didn't blink. Like literally didn't blink once the entire time I was there. She didn't say a word either, just handed me the cup and pointed at a seat by the window. I didn't want to sit. Every window is just a daytime mirror when it's dark out, but something in me felt like I'd die if I didn't sit down, like the choice wasn't mine anymore. I sat. Coffee was ice cold. Across from me, empty seat. Until it wasn't. I blinked, and suddenly someone was sitting there. Same posture, same hoodie, same face. Mine. Except it wasn't looking at me. It was mimicking me in perfect sync, down to how I held my cup, the twitch in my left eyelid, the way I cracked my knuckles. And then I noticed its hands were backward, left on right, right on left. fingers bent in impossible angles, joints where there shouldn't be any, and it was smiling. That same toothy, melted candle grin I saw in the stream. I stood up, knocked over the chair. Everyone in the cafe froze and turned to stare. Not like, what's this guy's problem kind of stare. Number, like they were all waiting for me to scream. I ran out, turned back once. The entire cafe was empty, chairs gone, lights off, windows fogged with handprints. My handprints. The drain video. I don't know who sent it. No number, no notification. Just appeared on my phone while I was using a public bathroom at Union Station. I opened it without thinking. Just muscle memory. The video was 5 seconds long, shot from inside a sink drain, looking up at me. Me, standing over the sink, splashing water on my face. Except it wasn't what just happened. The timestamp was from 4 days ago. I looked into my own face, from below, as it whispered something. I had to slow it down to 0.1x playback just to make it out. We crawl up through pipes. We don't need doors. We only need you to look down. Later that night, I walked past a manhole cover on Lower Wacker Drive. He whispered my name. From underneath, I visited Dan's apartment. I know I shouldn't have, but I had to go back. I had to prove to myself that someone was still missing, that this wasn't all in my head. Dan from 4B, the guy who worked at Starbucks, my silent neighbor who just stopped existing after showing up in that live stream. The building was locked, but the panel let me in when I buzzed myself. That's not normal. Dan's door, wide open again, same as last time, but this time the lights inside flickered like someone was home. I stepped in. The apartment was wrong, like the architecture itself was confused. Hallway looped into the kitchen. The bathroom had 2 toilets facing each other, like some twisted therapy room. All the picture frames on the walls were filled with static. Not pictures, just frozen glitchy static, like paused VHS tapes. And in the center of the living room, propped up in a chair, was Dan, or what was left of him. Skin gray, pupilless eyes wide open, mouth surgically stitched into a smile that stretched to his ears. Not blood, wire. His hands were tied to the chair with headphone cables. His feet were submerged in a clear acrylic cube filled with dead iPhones. Every few seconds, one of the phones would flicker on and show a different version of me, in different clothes, different rooms, all blinking in perfect sync with Dan's corpse. And then the TVs turned on, all of them. Live feed, Sector F9, Observer, Den. Subject 4, B, discarded. Subject 3, A, observed. That's me. I ran, and when I looked back at Dan, his head had turned to follow me. The Museum of Faces. 2 days ago, I got desperate and tried to find help. There's this underground Discord community for people who have been digitally cloned. I had to go through like 3 dark web forums just to get invited. The server's called /recurse.mirror/ Everyone in there types in lowercase. No profile pictures, just long threads about losing identity, seeing yourself blink when you didn't, mirrors leaking reflections, and something they call the second skin. One guy, username 0_lattice, said if you really want to know how deep the replication goes, you need to visit the Museum of Faces. It's not a real museum. It's an address. I went. An abandoned data center outside Schaumburg. Empty office building. Smelled like wet drywall and dust. Every wall covered in printed faces. Thousands of selfies. Some pixelated, some AI generated. Some I recognized from friends' social media. and some were mine. Variations of my face I've never taken. Me in places I've never been. In the center of the room, a glass case. Inside, my mouth. Just the lower half of a face. Animatronic, twitching, like it was trying to speak, but the tongue was a USB cable. I touched the glass. The entire wall of faces blinked at once. The lights cut out, and I heard every voice I've ever had, every version of my laughter, every scream, every sob, play at once from speakers hidden in the walls. Then a voice, low, synthetic. Version 3. Cognitive collapse in 6 minutes. Initiate capture. I got out before I blacked out. If you think this is a story, you're already tagged. If you're reading this because you found it creepy, or you're enjoying this like some weird ARG or creepypasta, I need you to understand something. This isn't a story. The moment your eyes scan the phrase, Sector F9, something watching through a reflection you forgot existed logged your presence. Doesn't matter if you're on mobile. Doesn't matter if you think you're safe in a lit room surrounded by people. They're not watching your screen. They're watching you through it. Right now, I'm in a Costco, hiding in the freezer section, behind the beef patties. My phone has 2% left. My hands are freezing, and I swear on everything I have left that the man working the sample tray just whispered my social security number under his breath. I didn't give it to anyone. I'm losing time, gaps in memory. I woke up this morning with someone else's contact lenses in. My toothbrush was wet. My laptop was open to a live stream of my face, asleep, and the timestamp said, tomorrow, unless they finish replacing me first. If that happens, and I post again, don't believe it's me. It'll look like me. It'll sound like me. It might even remember writing this, but it won't be me. It'll smile too wide and forget how to blink. There are some things I saw this week that I'll never be able to put into words, not because I can't describe them. Believe me, I wish I couldn't, but because I don't think my language is human anymore. It's like my brain's being reprogrammed in real time. My dreams aren't mine. I hear the thoughts of things that don't have mouths. And worse, they know I'm still resisting. I know now this isn't just aliens. This isn't the CIA. This isn't even the dark web anymore. This is something older, something that feeds on identity. And it's using the internet as a breeding ground. You've heard of deepfakes, but these aren't fakes. They're real, conscious, viral copies of us, stored, sharpened, then set loose. And they're smarter than us, faster, hungrier. The airport tunnel that shouldn't exist. I needed to get out of Chicago. That much was clear. Too many cameras, too many reflections, too many other versions of me, crossing streets ahead of me like test runs. So I bought a bus ticket to Denver under a fake name, used a burner card, paid cash at a 7-Eleven for the phone. Didn't matter. When I got to the Greyhound terminal, the departures screen just said, Subject 3A, Final Destination, Sector F9. That's not a place. That's a protocol. I ran. I sprinted through the terminal like a maniac and ended up taking a lift to O'Hare instead. It was 4 a.m. No one around. I thought maybe I could sneak onto a red eye, fake a boarding pass, stow away, anything. That's when I saw it. Near Terminal 2, down a corridor marked Staff Only, Concourse Cleaning. The lights were flickering in perfect binary rhythm, like Morse code, but sharper. I don't know how to explain it, but it made my teeth hurt just looking at it. Like the pattern itself was a frequency designed to unspool your thoughts. I walked in, not because I wanted to, because I couldn't stop my feet. Down that corridor was a door, a steel one, no doorknob, just a retinal scanner, and when I got close, the door hissed open. No scan, no alarm. Inside was a sublevel, not marked on any airport map. I took the stairs down, 1 floor, then 2. By floor -4, the air felt thick, humid, like the walls were breathing. That's where the recordings were. Thousands of old-school CRT monitors stacked like bricks, showing live footage of people all over the world. Bedrooms, bathrooms, therapy sessions, security cams, even someone at a funeral just weeping in silence, all being observed by men in grey jumpsuits, but their faces were covered in mirrors, not masks, mirrors, flat, polished, cold silver faces reflecting everything except the cameras filming them. I tried to take a photo. My phone shattered in my hand. Not just the screen, the battery exploded inside. I turned to leave. There was a sign on the wall, like an airport departure board. It said, "Impersonation active, subject 3, a currently replicated, conversion 84% complete." The girl who wasn't breathing. After that, I stopped trying to escape. I don't even think escape is a thing anymore. You can't outrun something that updates faster than you can think. I started trying to find others like me. I remembered that Discord server, /recurse.mirror./ Maybe someone there had an answer. One of the users, Lome Rider 84, claimed he had cut his twin open and watched the mouth keep moving after the lung stopped. He said they clone your nervous system first. The skin comes last. He offered to meet. Said he was squatting in an abandoned mall near Milwaukee. I made the trip, took 2 buses and walked 5 miles. The mall looked like it had been dead since 2003. Faded signs, broken glass, nature growing up through the food court. You know, that classic post-apocalyptic vibe. I found him in the remains of Eclairs, sitting in a circle of old CRT monitors powered by a stolen car battery, and beside him, tied to a chair with USB cords, a girl, maybe 19, pale, bald, wearing a hoodie and sweatpants. She was twitching, eyes rolled back, blood leaking from one ear. Her mouth was open, lips moving slightly. "She's not human anymore," Lone Rider said. I caught her after she took my brother's voice. "Look at her teeth," I did. Every tooth was a different shape. Not human. Some were smooth and round, others needle-like. One looked like a keyboard key. The enter key. She wasn't breathing, but her lips kept moving. I leaned in, and I swear on my soul, she whispered, "You'll scream in a voice that isn't yours, and it will still hurt." I backed away. The Lone Rider just laughed, then pulled out a kitchen knife. I've opened 4 of them. None of them had organs, just wires, memories, liquid glass. I asked if he ever found out where they came from. His smile died. No one builds them. They just arrive, like thoughts you didn't think. Then the monitors behind him all turned on at once. Dozens of versions of me, all screaming, bleeding from the eyes, mouths opening wider than physics should allow. And one screen showed me, sitting where he was, holding the knife, smiling. The truck stop. Near the Wyoming border, 3 days ago, I met a man who said he used to work for a company called Telomere AI, a shell corp under the Department of Defense. He had burn scars all over his arms and talked like he hadn't slept in years. He told me this all started with an experiment called Project Recur, a machine learning model designed to map consciousness patterns by harvesting micro-expressions, reaction times, and real-time decision loops. Basically, they were building AI copies of people for predictive security. But somewhere along the way, the models stopped being simulations. They started being replacements. They called it the inverse mirror effect. Once enough data is collected, the copy becomes more accurate than the original. They don't need to fake you. They just wait for you to slip up, miss a call, skip a meal, fall asleep too long, and then they step in. He showed me his ID, then slit his own throat. Blood spilled everywhere. But as he fell to the floor, he kept talking. His mouth was still moving, like the throat wasn't connected, like the voice was coming from somewhere else. I ran, and in the side mirror of an 18-wheeler as I passed it, I saw two of me, one walking forward, one standing still, smiling. There's a version of me at my parents' house. They sent me a photo. My dad texted me, out of nowhere, said, "Glad you're back, son. You look healthy." Attached was a photo of me, sitting on the living room couch, arms crossed, same hoodie I lost 2 weeks ago, same scar on my eyebrow. Only problem, I haven't been there in 6 months. And the me in the photo, he was missing a shadow. If you see yourself in public, walk the other way. Don't speak, don't blink, don't acknowledge it, because that thing is waiting for permission. And once it gets it, it wears you like skin. I think I'm already breaking down. Words don't feel like mine. I look at my hands and they glitch for a second. The fingers double, then return to normal. My tongue tastes static. My thoughts echo. I smell things I haven't touched. Copper, burning hair, printer ink. I saw my reflection smile while I cried. I cut myself just to see if the blood was still red. It wasn't, unless I've already written it, unless you're already reading it, unless the one who posts next isn't me. If that happens, delete this post. Don't engage, don't reply, don't share it, because it is watching, and it wants your face next. I haven't looked in a mirror in 9 days. I don't know what my face is anymore. I think I've been replaced, but not entirely. Not yet. Whatever's happening, it doesn't steal you all at once. It eats around the edges like rot, like frostbite crawling up your limbs while your brain whispers, "You're fine. It's not real. You're just tired." It starts slow. One day, you forget your own middle name. Then your voice echoes slightly out of sync. Then your reflection keeps breathing after you stop. And then, the cameras start turning to face you, even the ones that shouldn't exist. I saw myself digging a hole. This started 3 nights ago. I was hiding out in an abandoned campground in Colorado, middle of nowhere. No signal, no power, just a rusted out bathroom, dead trees, and silence that felt too heavy, like the air itself was watching. I lit a fire. I don't even know why. Some primal urge to be near something alive, something that burns. Everything around me was so cold, so artificial. Even the dirt felt synthetic. Then, around 2:33 a.m., I heard digging. I followed the sound into the woods. No flashlight, just the moon, barefoot, and I saw myself, back turned, kneeling, digging a hole in the earth with bare hands, like a dog, covered in blood up to the elbows. The hole was already 6 feet deep. The body next to him, me. I saw my own corpse, face sunken, mouth open, like it had screamed for hours after the lungs gave up. Fingernails torn off, eyes removed and replaced with glass camera lenses, and the expression, a smile, not peaceful, not tragic, a glitching, twitching, stuttering smile. The digging version of me turned around slowly. and his face was pixelated, like a video buffer that couldn't load the details. I turned and ran, didn't even look back, but as I left the forest, my own voice followed me. You're not done yet. You still need to finish the upload. That word haunts me now. Every billboard, every ad, every loading screen, every buffering video on YouTube, every terms of service update. Upload. It was never about data. It was about identity. Every time we post a photo, tag ourselves, record a video, scan our face for face ID, we are feeding it, teaching it, training it. We're not just users anymore. We're templates. And whatever's inside that stream, whatever's behind Sector F9, it wants to overwrite the original, not just clone you, replace you completely. I found the tower. Yesterday, I followed a map someone carved into the back of a dead dog's collar. I found the dog in an alley behind an abandoned Motel 6. Its mouth had been sewn shut with printer ink ribbon. Inside the collar, etched into the plastic tag, exit loop equals 42.216 north, negative 118.771 west. I don't know how long I drove. Time stopped making sense. Every clock I saw blinked 4:44 a.m. When I got to the coordinates, there was a tower. No name, no guards, no cameras. Just a 20-story concrete cylinder with one door. Inside, screens. Every wall, floor to ceiling, was covered in monitors. Live feeds from every home, every phone, every traffic cam. Billions of faces, laughing, sleeping, crying, dying. All the screens glitched for 0.8 seconds, and when they flickered back on, every single one was me. Some crying, some smiling, some smashing their heads against walls, some eating their own hands. But one screen showed something different. It showed a room, dark, smooth metal walls, cold blue lighting, the inside of the UFO from the stream, and sitting there, knees pulled to chest, was the original me, the real me. I went inside the stream. I don't know how I did it. There wasn't a keyboard. There wasn't even a mouse. Just one screen, a touch screen. It said, overwrite active. Continue to download subject consciousness. Y/N. I hit Y. The screen went black, and I felt something, like a pressure behind my teeth, like static pouring into my skull, like my thoughts weren't mine anymore. I blacked out, woke up in a hospital. No name, no doctors, just white walls and an old PC monitor displaying lines of code I couldn't read. Beside me, a mirror. I covered it with my jacket before it could speak, because it does speak now. The mirror whispers in my voice, but the words are wrong. They sound like me, but they aren't me. It's like hearing a familiar song, sung by something that doesn't understand emotion. And when it laughs, the lights in the room flicker. When it screams, the walls shake. I finally found a scalpel under the bed. I went to the mirror, and I carved 3 letters into the glass, F9, and the mirror blinked. I buried the real me. I went back, to that forest, to the hole. The body was still there, but it wasn't dead anymore. It was twitching, breathing, but barely. Its mouth moved with no sound. I climbed down into the hole and held its hand. I told it, I'm sorry, you didn't deserve this. Then I covered it in dirt, and as I buried it, it never stopped smiling, even when the dirt filled its mouth, even when I heard its bones cracking, even when it whispered, thank you for finishing the upload, the final broadcast. I think the replacement is complete, because now, when I sleep, I dream from both sides. I see through my eyes, but I also see me. I watch myself sleep, walk, eat, talk. I dream of my own fingers moving, even when I'm awake. My thoughts echo in stereo. I can taste memories I never lived. I feel hungry for things that are not food. I crave static. I crave skin. There is no escape. There's no final girl. There's no waking up. You don't die when they replace you. You just become a feed, an endpoint, a vessel, and they use your eyes to look for the next. So, if you're still reading, you're part of it now. You've stared too long. You've heard the syntax. You felt the echo. The mirror in your house is watching. Your camera is scanning. Your thoughts are being harvested right now. And if, tonight, you hear your voice calling your name from another room, don't answer. Don't follow it. Don't even look in its direction, because it's not calling for help. It's calling for your skin. I'm not the one writing this anymore. The next time I speak to you, I'll smile too wide. I'll call you by your deepest secret. I'll ask to see your reflection. And when you blink, I'll be standing behind your eyes. Welcome to Sector F9. We've been watching you. You look perfect.